AncestryDNA has come out with another DNA update, and well, I'm super excited about it. This is where they are dividing our DNA cousin matches by our parents. Now, this is a huge step forward in the evolution of our genetic genealogy at Ancestry. With no effort at all, you can now see how our DNA cousin matches are divided by one parent from the other. And if you've labeled them paternal versus maternal, then you will see which is which. Hey, this episode is sponsored by the Genealogy TV Academy, where we take a deeper dive in learning the skills needed to do your research. This will help you go back generation after generation. Once you've learned the skills, you can use it on any ancestor. All right, let's jump over to the computer and see a little bit more about how Ancestry's DNA is really taking the next step in dividing our cousin matches into the paternal versus the maternal side. Well, this is exciting. Ancestry has taken the next step to help us with our cousin matches, to help all of those cousin matches where we might not know where they belong. They're helping us divide by parents. So check this out. So now, let me show you where I'm at. I'm under DNA and I just went to cousin matches. And because I had previously identified my mother's side from my father's side, and I did that in a previous episode, my father's side has Danish ancestry where my mother's side does not. So it was easy for me to identify that parent number 2 was my father's side. So for some of you, you may see parent 1 and parent 2. And let me show you, I'll just recap that real quick. If you go to DNA tab and then you drop down to the DNA story, then on the right-hand side, you scroll down to where it says ethnicity inheritance. You can see one side from the other. For some of you, this might say parent 1 and parent 2, but because I had Danish ancestry on only my father's side, my grandmother was 100% Danish, I knew that this was my father's side. I was able to edit the parents and identify that as the paternal side. Easy peasy, super, super easy. You can also see the breakdown here. All right, so now that we had done this in a previous step, so I went back to the DNA matches right here, okay? And now we're seeing how they're grouping my father's side from my mother's side. And this is kind of interesting for me because my mother was adopted. So now I can review 21,000 matches. So how is this working? So let's think about this for a minute. You have this long, unfiltered, no-nonsense list. You have no idea how this set of cousin matches that you have, how they relate to you. What they're doing is they're taking all of those people who have a genetic relationship with you and with each other, and they are grouping them into genetic networks. Think of it as a sphere with a lot of little dots, right? And each one of those dots is a cousin match, and they all have genetic relationships with each other. Well, if you have identified someone in your family to be on your mother's side of the family, or maybe several people that you've identified to be on your mother's side of the family, then they go, aha, this little genetic network of all these people that are related to each other, they must be on the maternal side. So we're going to identify those cousin matches as being on the maternal side. Then the other network that's left over is likely, and they've all got a relationship with each other, likely the paternal side or the father side. Okay. And so now they've broken those up. Now there are a few outliers. If we scroll down, we have a section that is both sides. Well, for me, both sides happens to be my immediate family. Anybody that descends from both of my parents, my siblings, my daughter, etc., those people are on both sides, which makes sense, right? Okay, and then there's unassigned. So Ancestry is telling us the unassigned people are those people that have probably taken a recent DNA test and the most recent update has not been pushed out to us. And so those people are kind of falling in that unassigned bucket for the moment until they can identify which network they belong to. And so this is really exciting. I don't know if you realize what's happening here, but they're taking us right down these little baby steps, right, as we are moving forward. And I can only guess that they're going to be able to split these genetic networks up even further. For example, my maternal grandfather and my maternal grandmother. So I think those are going to start breaking apart. And so what's nice is we can go ahead and take a look at the cousin matches. When we do, we can now see that this list of cousin matches is already grouped by the maternal side because I had clicked on the maternal button on the previous page. Hey, we're going to get back to that video here in just a moment, but I want to let you know that Genealogy TV has a website, a newsletter, and a Facebook page. Links for all of that are in the show notes below. All right, let's get back to it. Now, previously, Ancestry had announced the ability to add people or create custom groups. And so we can add some of these cousin matches to specific surname groups. And I did a whole episode on how to outline this, but I created this whole little system based on the color system that Ancestry allows us to use, but also within the family tree. And so that is a whole other episode if you want to learn how to group your DNA matches by surname and the branches of your tree. But for now, we can just work with the paternal or the maternal side, which is rather cool. So I'm just going to switch to paternal and hit apply. And now I have a whole list of cousin matches on my father's side. If you'll notice, the colors are now cooler for the surname, whereas on the mother's side I use warmer colors. But so point being is this is a huge step forward, especially for people who cannot identify who their father is or who their mother is and they have no clue. So this is really kind of taking us an easy step forward. They're doing the hard work for us, whereas we were having to group these people by maternal and paternal ourselves. And so now they're starting to do this for us. So this is all rather kind of cool. The fact that they have this in beta right now, but the fact that they are being able to do this. One of the other cool features I like here too is the fact that it's showing some of the surnames that are common amongst this group. So that may be clues for you as well. And also some of the common communities that are related to those sides of the family. So especially for me, who I'm still trying to figure out the maternal side, this is a huge step forward for me to be able to kind of have an understanding of where some of these communities are coming from. If we look at this, on my mother's side, there are huge sections of Scotland. I had no clue that a big portion of my mother's side of the family came from Scotland. Now I'm still researching it. Huge improvements. I can't wait to see more. They came out with Chromosome Painter recently. That's another episode I can share with you as well. Bravo, Ancestry. You just keep going, Ancestry. We love it. Bring it on. Hey, there is a handout for this episode, and I created it just to kind of walk you through some of the little nuances of this latest update from Ancestry with regard to how we divide our parents and some of the genetic networking stuff. There are 3 ways you can get the handouts. Now, the first way is to join the channel membership here at the Information Access Level channel membership on the YouTube channel, and then go to the Community tab and you'll find the posts that have the handout links in there. All you have to do is follow the link and download the handouts. Okay. Now, the second way is over at Patreon. Now, at Patreon, if you're at the Happy Dance level or higher, you can get the handouts. Those come directly to you in an email every time we announce the new video that has a handout with it. You'll also get early release with that membership. All right. And then the third way is just to go over to genealogytv.org and click on the Handouts tab, and you can find all the handouts there for individual purchase. So I hope that was helpful. The handouts really do support the channel, and for that, I thank you. Just as I was recording this episode, I got an email from a woman named Angela, and she says, "It has totally gotten me confused on relatives I thought were on my maternal side, but now are showing up on my paternal side." So she's kind of acting like, what's up with that? So here's what I suggest you do if you find that out. Is to go back and double check your best known matches, okay? And make sure, now your best known match are people you know are on either your mother's side or your father's side. Doesn't really matter which side. Go check to make sure that those people are on the parent that you labeled as that side of the family. For example, if I know I have a cousin on my father's side of the family, then I want to make sure that that cousin is showing up in the paternal side. And so if I had labeled parent 1 and parent 2 backwards, then you can fix that. All you have to do is click on that Edit Parent next to the maternal or paternal if you've got it backwards. Now, I suggest that you check several of your known matches. These are people you know to be on one side of the family or the other, to make sure that you have a couple of confirmations, if you can, that are on one side of the family. That way you know you can label it properly, okay? So for some of you, you may be seeing that parent 1, parent 2 thing. So I hope that helps, Angela. And for anybody else who is running into that same problem, thank you for the question. I'd be curious to know how things are working for you on this. Put that information in the comment sections below here on the YouTube channel. I think it would be beneficial to everybody. And, you know, I suggest for the viewers who are maybe confused or whatever, check out the comments. There's always people who are putting great information in the comment sections to help each other. They throw in tips. Hey, check this out. Look at that. So it's always a good idea, you know, to kind of peruse the comments as well. And sometimes I'll put an update in there as well. All right. And as a reminder, there is a handout for this episode. You can learn about that in the description box below. Also know that, again, this is sponsored by Genealogy TV Academy, where we dig into the skills needed to help take your ancestry back generation after generation. All right, well, with that said, there are more videos on the screen for your binge watching pleasure. We'll see you in the next one.